Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have an endless supply of motivation, while others can't even muster up enough to finish a simple task? This, my friends, is the enigma of self-motivation. In our journey through life, we often find ourselves at crossroads, where the only thing propelling us forward is our inner drive, our self-motivation. It's like the fuel that keeps the engine of our ambition running. And just like the best engines run on the finest fuel, the most successful people are often powered by the most potent self-motivation. Now let's break it down a bit. Motivation, as we understand it, can be intrinsic or extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation comes from within. It's that personal satisfaction you feel when you achieve a goal, or the sense of fulfillment when you learn something new. It's like being a self-charging battery, always ready to go. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation is driven by external factors. It's the carrot at the end of the stick, the shiny trophy, or the promise of a bonus. It's like being a car that needs refueling every now and then. Both types of motivation have their place, but when it comes to longevity and sustainability, intrinsic motivation takes the cake. Now, why is self-motivation so crucial, you ask? Well, it's the difference between being a passive passenger and an active driver in the journey of life. It's the difference between waiting for things to happen and making things happen. It's the difference between being a puppet controlled by external forces and being a master puppeteer in control of your own life. So how do we tap into this reservoir of self-motivation? How do we turn the key and rev up the engine of our ambition? This is what we'll explore in the rest of this video. We'll delve into the funny side of self-motivation, understand its building blocks, discover the magic of momentum, and master the art of self-motivation. Intrigued? You should be, because unlocking your self-motivation is like finding a hidden superpower within you. So how do you find this hidden superpower? Well, let me share a little story with you. Picture this: a lazy cat named Whiskers, whose only known life ambition was to perfect the art of napping. Whiskers was so committed to this life goal that he could give a sloth a run for its money, or rather, a very slow, leisurely stroll. Now you're probably thinking, how does a lazy cat like Whiskers find the motivation to do anything but sleep? Well, that's where our story gets interesting. You see, one day Whiskers discovered something that would forever change his life: the laser pointer. Oh, the laser pointer. This tiny red elusive dot became the bane of Whiskers' existence. It would flit and flicker about, always just out of reach, taunting him. And Whiskers, the once lazy cat, found himself leaping, pouncing, and even somersaulting in an attempt to catch it. Suddenly, the cat who had previously considered lifting a paw to be strenuous exercise was bounding across the living room like an Olympic athlete. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous, and all because Whiskers had found something that truly sparked his interest, something that incited a fire within him. So what's the moral of our story here? Well, it's not that you should invest in a laser pointer, though they are quite fun. It's about discovering what truly sparks your interest, what motivates you. Just like Whiskers, we all have a laser pointer in our lives. It might be a dream job, a personal goal, or even a hobby. Whatever it is, it's something that gets you excited, something that makes you want to leap out of bed in the morning, ready to tackle the day. When you find your laser pointer, it's like adding rocket fuel to your motivation. Suddenly, tasks that once seemed daunting become exciting challenges to conquer. Goals that seemed out of reach become attainable. And just like our feline friend, discovering what truly drives you can make all the difference. Now that we've had a laugh, let's get down to business. What are the key components of self-motivation? Imagine the human psyche as a complex machine. Now, if we were to peek under the hood of this machine, we would find three main gears that drive self-motivation. These are goal setting, self-efficacy, and personal values. First, let's talk about goal setting. It's not just about setting any goal, but instead, setting the right kind of goal. A well-defined, achievable goal acts as a compass, guiding us through the fog of life. It's like the North Star, ever present, always guiding you in the right direction. But remember, it's not enough to just set a goal. You need to set a goal that truly means something to you. Now, on to self-efficacy. Fancy term, isn't it? But it's quite simple, really. It's the belief we have in our ability to complete tasks and reach goals. It's that little voice in your head that says, yes, I can do this. And let me tell you, that voice can move mountains. Self-efficacy is the fuel that propels our goal-setting compass. helping us navigate our journey with confidence. Finally, we come to personal values. These are the principles and ideals that we hold dear. They are the backbone of our motivation, acting as the bedrock upon which our goals and self-belief are built. It's these values that give our goals meaning and our self-efficacy purpose. So there you have it, the 3 gears of self-motivation: goal setting, self-efficacy, and personal values. They are interlinked, each one influencing and strengthening the others. The beauty of self-motivation is that it's not a one-size-fits-all concept. It's about tailoring these elements to your unique needs and circumstances. It's about acknowledging your individual strengths and weaknesses and creating a personal motivation strategy that works for you. Remember, self-motivation isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. It's about finding what works for you. Ever heard the phrase, success breeds success? Well, in the world of self-motivation, we like to call it the magic of momentum. It's a bit like being on a sled at the top of a snowy hill. At first you're stationary, maybe even a little apprehensive, but once you start moving, there's no stopping you. Now, let's break it down. Imagine you're trying to push a heavy boulder. Initially, it's an uphill battle, quite literally. Your efforts seem futile, the boulder barely budges. But once you get it rolling, it starts to move a little more easily, a little more swiftly. That's momentum for you. It's the same with self-motivation. Each small success, each little victory gets the ball rolling, building momentum. But how do you start, you might wonder? Well, it's all about setting achievable goals. Things that are within your grasp. It could be as simple as waking up 5 minutes earlier, or reading a single page of a book every day. The size of the goal doesn't matter, it's the act of achieving it that counts. Because each time you reach a goal, no matter how small, you're proving to yourself that you can do it. And that's a powerful motivator. Now here's a fun fact. Did you know that a rolling snowball, given the right conditions, can grow to the size of a small car? That's right. Just like that snowball, your motivation can grow exponentially with each success, each goal met. And here's where the humor comes in. Imagine that snowball is your motivation and you're at the top of a mountain. You start rolling it around and before you know it, it's grown so big it's rolling down the hill on its own, wreaking havoc on the unsuspecting villagers below. Okay, maybe not the havoc part, but you get the idea. So remember, even the smallest success can start the momentum. It's like a chain reaction, a domino effect. One success leads to another, and another, and another. So, start small, and before you know it, you'll be on a roll. Now that you're armed with all this knowledge, how do you put it into practice? Well, let's imagine your motivation as a dormouse. Cute, right? But it's been hibernating. Now it's time to wake it up. And what's better to wake up a dormouse than a laser pointer? Well, metaphorically speaking, of course. To start, it's crucial to set achievable goals. Not the kind that have you scaling Everest by next Tuesday. Those are more like the dreams that make your dormouse curl up and go back to sleep. Instead, choose goals that are within your reach. Something like, I will read 1 book a month, or I will finish that painting I started a year ago. These are the kind of goals that make your dormouse sit up and take notice. Next, celebrate your small victories. Did you finish reading that book this month? Excellent. It's time for a dormouse dance party. Treat yourself to a nice cup of tea or whatever you fancy. By celebrating your small victories, you're encouraging your dormouse to keep going, to keep chasing that laser pointer. But here's the real secret. Maintaining a positive mindset. Yes, it's easier said than done. Life can be like a cat that's intent on catching your dormouse. But remember, your dormouse has a laser pointer. Instead of focusing on the cat, focus on the laser pointer. What's the laser pointer, you ask? It's the belief that you can achieve your goals. It's the conviction that every small step is a victory. It's the knowledge that even if the cat catches you, you can always get back up and keep going. So think of your self-motivation as a game where you, the dormouse, are armed with a laser pointer, chasing after your goals. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. So, go forth, find your laser pointer, and unlock your hidden superpower of self-motivation.